nothing else, I'll go to the cinema and watch a movie. I'll meet up, back up with you at the hotel room. It's, like supper time. All right. I wasn't going to do that 2 nights in a row.
Hey, excuse me, guys. I'm going to run up to 40 and try my friend up there. Good to hear you both, and sorry for the interruption. Phil loved the video from Venice.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, shot all by myself and edited. Thanks, Gordon. All right, catch you later.
Okay, have a good night if I don't come back soon. See you guys later.
Later, Gordon.
Enjoy.
Yeah, have a good night. So 46 beers, huh? Holy moly.
I don't think I made the whole 46. For a while at the second club, I was only ordering after every other girl. So I probably didn't make the 46, but I can guarantee the guy I was with did.
Wow. I have to urinate just thinking about that.
Oh, yeah, and that was the other trip. The men's room was downstairs on a lower level. There was this stairway. The stairway, you better stand on one side or the other to have a handrail because the stairway was about 10 feet wide. A half a dozen people could pass each other on the stairway. That is, if you could afford to be away from the handrail.
That sounds a little treacherous.
I thought so myself. Geez, people were doing it. I mean, it's like, they're running right up the middle. I guess I've experienced that myself. I went out with my brother and a friend. We went to a movie once, and I drank a couple of bottles of Boone's Farm. And my friend had a 32-foot boat, and we were going to sleep on the boat. When we got back to the boat after the movie, we decided we were going to take it out and anchor it or tie off to a buoy or something. And we got on the boat, and we went out, and I was always very careful around the water. I mean, I hung out with both hands because I was never a really great swimmer. But I found myself walking up the gunnel to the bow to grab the boat hook to pull up the buoy and tie us off to it. And I found myself doing it with no hands. And I said to myself, geez, either I'm really brave or really drunk, one or the other.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Keep in mind, it's the middle of the night, it's pitch black. The only light you have is the stars, moon, water reflecting off the bay.
In the 80s, I got away with a lot of stuff. It was lucky to still be here, put it that way. But yeah, not the best combination. But sometimes they say God looks out for drunks and for kids, something like that, right?
Yeah, this was in the 70s. This was definitely in the 70s. It was before I met my wife. I met my wife in 78. It was probably, let me see, the year I met my wife, I was sleeping in the van. The summer before that, I was sleeping on the boat. So it was 2 years before I met my wife.
W2PHL. Yeah, I had a boat from 85, and then I got rid of it in, 2000, something, because the kids are going to drown. So, there you go.
Yeah, it's something that strikes fear into the heart of most women. That's fortunate in some cases because some people have no common sense and their kids probably would drown.
Well, it's around here, City Island, and around the Connecticut shore, Westchester. You've got to really know how to navigate around there. And you need to, because every spring you'd see a guy with a brand new boat, and he's just like full throttle, you know, and you're like, well, he's heading right for the ledge. And sure enough, you know, Sea Tow is always very busy in the beginning of the season. So you got to know the area. And I was smart enough to do that. But then, of course, then you have a beer or two, and then you're racing your friends, and, you know, that stuff happens.
Yeah, I've seen it up here. You're over, you know, on the bay, and you're watching a boat, and you're saying, it looks like a 25 to 30 footer. Doesn't look like he's... It's the sandbar. Onto the sandbar.
Yeah, it never fails. I was stuck in fog, you know, just sitting there, because especially in the springtime, you just, all of a sudden, you're in a fog bank, and I'm hearing this, and it's getting louder and louder, and you could just, I mean, the guy didn't even have the boat trimmed out right, because you could hear it porpoising, but it had, you know, it had some big IOs, you know, the mufflers, above the water mufflers, because you could just hear it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die right now. I'm going to die. Never saw the guy, but man, I had no idea the speed that he was going, but it had to be at least 30, 40 miles an hour. And I mean, I kept listening for the engine to suddenly stop, but I don't know. There's no way he could have seen anything. But there's special people out there, you know.
Yeah, funny story about boating. I spent the whole summer sleeping on my friend's boat, and sometimes if he got in, he was a truck driver, and sometimes when he got in off the road early enough, we'd take the boat out and we'd sleep out on the water. There's nothing more relaxing. You can get about 8 hours sleep in about 2.5 hours if you sleep out on the water. That's the way I felt anyway. And this one particular night we come in, and the tide is going out. And he has me drop the anchor. He backs up against it to set it. And a little while later we go to sleep. Well, then the tide came back in. When the boat went the other direction, it unset the anchor, and we dragged it for about a mile. We woke up at the other end of the bay.
Oh, you're lucky. God, W2PHL. I mean, I had, early on in my boating career, we went for a picnic, and I kept the boat like a foot. There's a few islands off the Connecticut shore that are pretty popular, and I kept the boat maybe in 2 feet of water and anchor on the beach and one out at the stern. And then we got a spot and we started cooking and drinking and stuff. And look, and the boat is laying on its side on the beach. Oh man. Yeah, you live, you learn.
Funny thing about the tide. Yeah, well, my friend saw that happen to quite a few people. He never did that one, which is a good thing, because he had a 32-foot double plank hull wooden boat built in 1948, I believe. It had been all retrofitted. It had two 427s or 429s. Big Holly carbs, and I think it had two 150-gallon tanks and a 200-gallon gas tank. And this thing was a barge, but with that much horsepower, it flew. As heavy as it was with that double plank hull, it still flew. And we got caught in some really, really bad weather one day. I thought it was all over for us. Coming around the Warwick Point in a storm. I could have sworn I felt the boat hit the bottom a couple times when we went into the big waves. And you're sitting on the floor of the cabin sliding back and forth on your butt. The boat's like standing up and then falling down. But it was interesting. I actually piloted a 41-foot Hatteras once. I used to do repairs on one for a charter fishing boat. His boat was out of commission for over a week. I had one of the engines out of it because he had water go up the exhaust and take one of the engines out. So I had to pull the engine all apart and repair it. And his sciatic nerve was out the whole week. It was taking him like 20 minutes to walk from his car to the boat. And his back was just getting better when the boat was finished and he was going to be able to make his next charter. And he was a little leery because it was way offshore. It was Cox's Ledge. And he asked me, "So you doing anything?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, I'm a little nervous. You had that engine all apart on the floor in here. And my first charter is way out like that. A little thing going wrong could leave me stranded out there." I said, "Well," "I'm not doing anything. I'll go for a ride." Well, we got out there, and we're way too far from shore to just turn and run. And they start giving small vessel advisories. And his charter hasn't caught anything yet. And they're pushing a little longer. Well, around the time we turned and started heading back, the storm caught up with us. And about 15, 20 minutes of a trailing sea off the port side, kicking him back and forth, his back went totally out. I could see the tears coming from the corners of his eyes. He finally said, "Charlie, you think you could pilot this thing for a while?" He says, "I'll stay right in the chair where you are and make sure you're doing everything all right." He says, "But I can't stand here another minute."
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got, I had a bunch of friends with me, so we were able to pick the boat up and put it back in the water. It still had a few inches of water underneath it, so that story had a happy ending. But, yeah, talk about hairy stuff. The 4th of July is a fun time to have your boat down in New York Harbor. Lots of fireworks going off. In one particular year, they didn't let the boat traffic all the way down to Liberty Island. And I got stuck in the East River, and this is a 20-foot cuddy cabin. It's just a little runabout, semi-V hull, 140 horsepower engine. It's good for water skiing, you know what I mean? And then it's got the little cuddy cabin, which is fun when you're on a date. But, so, it's dark now, and the fireworks are over, and the tide is changing, and the anchor is pulling so hard that there's no way I can even, pull it out. So my girlfriend, who knows nothing about boats, she's holding the thing into the anchor line with about half throttle, and we're barely starting to move. But I needed to get that anchor out. So luckily I didn't go for a swim at that point, and we get the anchor out. But now there's all these gigantic 40-foot boats, Charlie, like the one you were on, and they're all booking up the East River. And, in the river when the tide's changing, especially like going through Hellgate. I don't know if you've ever been, you heard of Hellgate here on the East River. It can be bad news. And so I'm in my boat, which never felt so small. And it's one thing to go through Hellgate and you're on plane, you're doing like 25, 30 miles an hour, you're just like zipping right across there. But now to have to go really slowly, because there's no way that I could hold a plane with like 3-4 foot waves from these cabin cruisers. And it was like being in a washing machine, a gigantic washing machine. And the people that were with me, like my girlfriend, she wasn't too scared, but because, she's been on the boat with me many a time. But the friends who were with me, oh, man, they were like white as ghosts. I mean, it was kind of hairy, and we got soaking wet, too, with all the water breaking over the bow, and that was so much fun, and I live to tell.
Well, that was a small washing machine. That trip back from Cox's Ledges, now that was a big washing machine. We had 20-some foot seas, trailing seas, off the port side. If it had been square, it wouldn't have been so bad. I had to stare and counter-steer for every wave. And when I was going up a wave, you'd hear the engines bog down, the boat would slow down. And as the wave came under and you got pointed downhill again, you'd hear the engines jack up, and it was like driving a 41-foot surfboard. All the way back. He didn't take the wheel again till we hit the Jamestown Bridge.
Good evening.
Oh, excuse me. Good evening. I was in the middle of my good. I had some gas that erupted from my stomach. I don't know if you knew that, but that's what that was.
Most ham radio operators promote that, but okay, very fine business. Hello, Bill, Charlie, and whoever else is, loitering on 3873, right?
Right. Hey, man, how you feeling? I don't know. Every time I hear you, you sound a little worse.
Actually, today is much better, which is darn good because it was back to working on the aircraft. So now today was an improvement over yesterday. I think yesterday may have actually been Saturday was the worst. So yesterday was a little bit better, and today is really not that bad.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's not fun. So we were just regaling each other, me and Charlie, near disasters at sea. Charlie on his 20-foot wave with his 40-foot boat, and me on my 4-foot waves with my 20-foot boat, which was maybe more than 4, maybe 5 foot. I don't want to exaggerate too much, but I was burying the bow. So do you have any near fatal, super terrifying high seas adventure stories?
Wow, this is a great topic. I started volunteering with the Coast Guard Auxiliary here in 1981, and so this is last year was my 40th year doing that, out on the water every summer, doing search and rescue stuff as needed. I've got tons of stories.
Well, let's go easy. Maybe just one for now.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, there's the one with the... I've never seen a 65, I kid you not, 65-foot cabin cruiser go from being up on a plane to stopped and pivoting on a dime, as I did when this one cabin cruiser went up onto a reef. That was a life-changing experience. And another good one was encountering these 4 teenagers who were just hanging out on a gong buoy in the middle of Long Island Sound. They're just there. We got a call that there were some kids on a buoy. It's like, how the hell do they get there? Sure enough, we pull up and there they are. We pull over and get close enough for talking, and one of the kids shouts out and he's like, hey, what's up? It's like, no. I'll ask the questions, and there are many.
All right, so I bite. How did they get there?
This is priceless kid stuff. So their plan was they were originally on a boat with their other friends, and they were supposed to meet another group of kids and they were arriving on their own boat, and they couldn't remember whether they were, because no one had radios, of course. They couldn't remember they were meeting at that buoy, and then they were going to both, kind of caravan into the harbor together, and then go to one of their dad's clubs, the Bellhaven Club, actually, and sit at the bar and have some expensive hamburgers and cocktails and stuff. So they couldn't remember whether they were supposed to meet their friends at the buoy or at the club, so they decided to split up. So they left half the kids on the boat on the buoy, and then the other half went to wait for them at the club, and then whoever ran into their friends would just be like, oh yeah, we gotta go meet up with the others. So I said, so all your friends are sitting at the club right now having cocktails and stuff, and you guys are standing in 2 inches of seagull crap bouncing around on a buoy, which, oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned yet, but I should, it's like wildly illegal. So, I don't know if you've been to it, but this was buoy N1BCG. It's like out in the middle of Long Island Sound. You like that little tie-in? And they were like, well, yeah, I guess. They were total. These guys pioneered. Actually did happen prior to Beavis and Butthead. So they're like, all right, well, you can't stay on the buoy. This is like so not right. Covered in barnacles. I mean, if they fell off, they'd never be able to get back on again. This is one of these large bell buoys, or a gong buoy. It was enormous, and it was probably like 4 feet between the water line and, where the kind of part was where you can stand on, I hesitate to say. So if you fell off, that's it. You'd never get back up, and you couldn't because it was like coated with barnacles. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll take you in to meet up with your friends, and so I had them bathe their feet off in the water before they got on the Coast Guard auxiliary boat. And then, because that wasn't enough, Greenwich Marine Police showed up because, well, they heard the call about teenagers on a buoy also. And Greenwich Marine Police pulled up, and the freaking kids started in with them. Hey, officer, what's up? I'm like, I'll do the talking. And I explained it to the officers. They actually ended up taking the kids in. They probably had a few extra things to say to them than we did. But yeah, that was just the things kids do, right?
I don't know. I couldn't listen after the feet in the seagull poop comment. I ran into the other room. Sorry.
Well, now, here's what I was saying before. I'll just repeat it.
Hello to Perry, if that's Perry out there.
Just because it's
guano. Actually, the technical name is guano.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it won't be fun.
No, I eat at 4 o'clock. I just bring upstairs to my popcorn.
All right, so nobody heard that story. Screw y'all. Next time someone asks for a story, blow me.
I heard it.
I can wear this radio all the way up to the kitchen.
That's quite a message.
George blew out even a bigger message yesterday, and then when I asked him about it, he goes, oh, yeah, that wasn't for you. I still am not sure what just happened there, but wow, you think that was a bomb. Should have been around yesterday.
So you really think I ran to the other room when you mentioned seagull poop? That was just, I was just adding some color to my commentary.
Why is it 2 days in a row now people start right in from the first second of trying to get me cranked?
Is that what you're taking?
It's like Troll Clark frequency here. This is really interesting. I'm noticing a pattern.
Really? Who's trolling you, dude?
Well, let's see. What was it yesterday? Ernie started in with the, so you say that you like to ID some crazy-ass thing. I'm like, no, not at all. Where'd you hear that? He's like, oh, yeah, this is getting around. Like, holy crap. Let me straighten this out. And I went through my whole monologue, and at the end he's laughing. He's like, oh, I was just kidding. Oh, boy.
Oh, well, that goes on in the Clark chat room. That everybody talks about you.
Yep, that's it. I'm paranoid now.
8A3RE on my right box, 25 watts. This thing sound all right? Well, I didn't expect to be hanging out long, so I didn't turn anything on. But I felt I needed to make a comment to Clark. I was listening to one interesting story
But yeah, you want to talk about sea stories, so don't get me started. 50-foot seas in a 200-foot ship. That was fun.
Oh, now see, that would be a good story for here.
Yeah, with the amplifier on.
Give me a minute. Let me warm up the BMW.
Boy, that Phil, he's like on a roll.
No, seriously, you know, I'd like to hear the story, but I could, whoever that was, Pete, I can't hear him. Oh, yeah, I know Pete. I worked his station once or twice.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah, that's high-level plate modulation versus rice box. AA3RE. Alright, if y'all want to hear it, I'll tell you. I'll keep it brief, but there's some interesting sidebars to it. 1987, I'm on a Northern Europe cruise on a U.S. naval ship frigate, USS Glover, FF-1098. Y'all know what a frigate-sized ship is?
Remind us, because I get it.
Okay, it's about 40 foot in the beam, 210 feet long, 7,000 tons. 2 boilers, 1 screw, 210 crew. We're up in the North Atlantic, and it was actually like June. It was either May or June. Actually, North Atlantic. It was above the Arctic Circle, but we went by way of the North Sea, and we were playing around with Ruskies. But anyway, so 10 days worth of 50 to 60 foot seas in a ship that size, needless to say, was quite entertaining, a bit butt-puckering at times. I was in the boiler room. I operated the boilers, as well as the auxiliary equipment for that, and fire pumps and whatnot. Our ship was an anti-submarine warfare sub-hunter, and we were chasing the sub. And the Ruski sub decided he's going under the ice cap. And while we're chasing him, 10 days in these heavy seas, right? You could barely eat, let alone sleep. Well, anyway, I had some rank at the time, and I had a calibration shop. I took care of all the gauge calibration, automatic boiler controls and whatnot. So I had a shop. And after a couple of days of trying to strap myself in my rack, unsuccessfully being tossed around, there's no way to sleep in that kind of... Because it wasn't just pitch and roll. It was pitch, roll, shake, rattle, and roll. No real rhythm to it. And then there was a rhythm. You'd hit one of them waves out of time and slam. Man, you thought the backbone was going to break. I was saying, holy cow, we're still rolling. Anyway, see, I told you there were sidebars to this story. So I strung myself a hammock in my shop to be able to sleep. I thought, man, them old sailors, because I did a lot of reading, and them Iron Man wooden ships of days, and I thought, man, let me sling a hammock. So I took some bed sheets and whatnot, and I made a hammock, and I slung a hammock. The rest of the time, I was able to sleep like a baby, and people couldn't figure out why I was sleeping so well. So anyway, boiler operation was pretty much, dare I say it, ass-puckering, because you have to maintain, like, way, right? You can't lose the boilers at all, because, you know, you got to keep way under those conditions. You lose power and, you know, go broadside, turn turtle, and it's all over, Johnny. So, anyway, with all that shake, rattle, and roll going on, the boilers... water level in the gauge glass, 18 inches worth of gauge glass that you could see. It was going out of sight. Low. Thank God I'm good at calibration because my automatic controls took care of it. And we just like kept playing it. Every time it went out of sight one direction, it would come back, and it did. But boy, man, that was scary because it was such violent rolling. The water in the steam drum of the boiler was just rolling back and forth in that drum. It was crazy. It's absolutely amazing we had no water carryover into the main steam line, which was also would have been pretty catastrophic. So back to the anti-submarine warfare thing, all our equipment was mounted like submarine equipment is mounted. Everything was shock mounted on rubber mounts. Well, we got pumps and stuff, big pumps, 500 horsepower electric motor fire pumps and stuff. Everything's rolling on its freaking foundation. And every of those shock jars at a time, kabam, the whole ship shaking. Man, you thought something was coming loose. Oh, hold on. Oh, it's all good. Keep going. Our piping, all the water piping to that stuff, all had what they called EB joints, electric boat joints, and they were this kind of a shock-mounted joint, so nothing was actually hard bolted, so stuff moved. It's quite unnerving. There's a lot more to that story. Like I said, 10 days worth. I did not get seasick at all. I never got seasick. I kind of actually enjoyed it because the channel lines were extremely short. You had to do that on the buddy system because there's no way you could eat by yourself, get your drinks, and your food still be around. So somebody had to get the drinks while the other guy held on to the food. Man, things were flying all over the place. People were sick. It was complete and utter the worst at-sea conditions I had ever been in personally, and it was pretty bad. AA3RE.
Now that's quite a story.
I had no idea there were single-screw Navy ships. No idea, except for maybe like a cargo ship or something.
Yep, 2 boilers, single screw. Yeah, frigates class. There was actually more frigates. And when the steamships went away, after me, all gas turbines. They ran frigates for gas turbines. But as of right now, we actually have no frigates that I'm aware of. They did away with the class, and I don't know what the heck's going on. I have photographic evidence, but it does not do it justice. You know, you go up on the bridge and take photos. We had a 5-inch 38 gun mount and anti-submarine rocket launcher. It's a big 8-tube launcher rectangular box thing on the front of the ship, right behind the gun mount. That crap was going buried. I said we should have got 50% submarine pay because we were under the water as much as we were a duck.
Were you on one?
Once you lived it, you know, like it's hard to describe it, but yeah, when you hit one, like you'll be hitting them pretty good time. And then invariably there's one that just you're up and you're coming down and that wave is coming and slam and it's
How does that go again? Is that like Tim Tron saying a long time?
That's about as technical as I guess it gets on that description, boy. That was a rough ride, and there was a couple of times I was worried. You know, but I was a young buck, and I was like, yeah, we can do this. But you look back, it was pretty razor thin.
Perry, were you on one of those type ships? Geez, Phil, why are you and I telling sea stories?
You were on a big ship compared to mine. Mine was there for a little while. My ship was actually an experimental ship all the way around. It was actually one of 17 with the pressure-fired boilers, and we were the only one of its class, pressure-fired boilers, and we had a pump jet. We did not have an actual screw. We had a pump jet.
You know, wouldn't it be cool? Like after World War II, you know, people were buying tanks for $10 and airplanes and buy your own battleship. When they decommission them, how much could it be? Like a couple of grand?
I was always thinking that, man, when they decommission this ship, I want to buy it. 'Cause it was like a hot rod.
Yeah, and then you find out what it costs to keep it at the marina.
Yeah, fuel costs, paint, blah, blah, blah.
You get a mooring.
A mooring. Imagine the space that would take up when you consider you got to take the length of the ship and the anchor line and the swing into effect. Yeah, it's like, okay, half the harbor is going to be Phil's ship, and then everyone else is outside of that.
You got to think of possibilities, not of the negative aspects.
You go non-profit and become a non-profit corporation with it.
There you go. And then, like on Sundays, you give rides.
One of those.
Stuff is actually viable. I mean, they're doing that with a Liberty ship.
Beaver types.
Yeah, you got to get a real-time receiver. Oh, it's 6:30. It's past 6:30. Complaint department is closed. Sorry. Yeah, I do that to my kids all the time, Perry. I mean, no disrespect, just playing around. You know, sometimes I'm like joking around and then I realize people might take it the wrong way. But anyway, there you go. Okay, everyone carry on.
The same way I look off. I have to preface this with, I am not being serious. Okay, here fires. Harry, I didn't know you were a squid. So, yeah, we'll have to go down that road one time. Well, when it's a major part of your life, 20 years, yeah, no, it's hard to not have some sort of influence and impact on your life. Oh, yeah, it was certainly fun while it lasted, but they kind of pulled the ladder out from under me by getting rid of all the steamships and decommissioning all the steamships, and here I am, a boiler technician with, what did I have, 12 or 14 years in it at the time, and there's no steamships. So, like, I could have stayed BT till the end, but making chief would have been near impossible. As it turns out, I didn't make chief anyway, because I cross-rated the Master at Arms and did that for the last 6 years, and that was actually quite fun and entertaining. So that gave me a couple options when I retired. I could either go and become a cop or something along those lines, which I'm glad I did not, or stay in boiler operations, which I did, and I'm glad I did. 883RE, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're, everything went over to gas turbines, man. GSMs, GSEs, gas turbine electrical, gas turbine mechanical. Yeah, I don't think there's too many.
Wall, with everything going away, no chance for me to make E7 as a BT. I had a cross rate for any chance of making E7, which I didn't, which was quite disappointing. But anyway, so Master of Arms was kind of fun. That has its own set of stories.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. MMs. I had a MM1 more. This dude was like a massive black guy. He was so big and the deepest voice. Such an imposing guy, man, but he was the nicest guy in the world. I was with him in Great Lakes. That way back when, man. Whew, early in my Navy days. Anyway, enough about that. You guys, somebody else pick it up. Who else is in there? Clark, Phil, Pete, Charlie, who else?
One more comment, Perry, too.
Go ahead.
I need to know just, well, your years of service or whatever, you know, just your frame, if you would. And how'd you like that video gate from my workstation on a 10-meter antenna? Damn, I'm going to have to do something there, but the noise, I don't know if the noise, and not only that, I've got such a low-powered AM transmitter that I don't know if it'd be worth it or not. But you're so close, it would probably work. That was kind of entertaining. Like, man, he's gonna want to see this. Just do a quick video and email it. So.
Yeah, that was great. I loved it, and I was in from 06 to 2012. Just got out right before 2012, November of 2011 is when I got out. So January 06, November 2011. It was fun, man. Real fun. Learned a lot, but unfortunately, I'm not doing anything with what I learned. Well, I guess in this hobby I am, you know, with electronics and stuff, but yeah, still wrenching on cars like I was doing before I went in.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, well, that's a good deal. That, you know, at least you're getting something out of it, right? And there's, you know, believe me, there's plenty more things applicable that you can use. But yeah, I was in 83 and retired in 03, and I was actually in over the Middle East, the first Gulf War. And they wanted to send me over there to the second one, going around in my unit with the MAAs, beat cops in Baghdad. I was like, because I was actually going to just ride it out. You know, I'll just stay until they kick me out, kind of thing. Things are great. You know, I was having a good time. Until they decided they were going to send me to Baghdad. I said, that's it. I'm retired. I'll see you later. Thanks for the ride. AA3RE.
Yeah. W3 MMR. I don't think I've said that in a while.
But yeah, I gotta run too, so whoever else is in here, pick it up, have fun. I appreciate the time, and let me tell that sea story. I'm telling you, though, it's fair warning for you guys. You ask for sea stories, you get me rolling. I may not stop, because I got 20 years worth of them. And some of them are good. They're all true. And of course, they're all have embellishment. But it's up to the listener to figure out where the embellishments are and which parts are actually true. AA3RE.
See that? All qualities of a great story.
Yeah, Pete, I enjoyed your story. Have a good evening. Nice hearing from you. W2PHL.
Yep, I get it here as much as I can, but not as much as I want. 730, thanks for the fun. AA3RE.
Yeah.
What you could do is just go to the recordings of the frequency and just take Pete's transmissions and just rebroadcast them randomly at other times, so we can get him to be on more.
Yeah. See you, Pete.
See ya.
Yeah. Band's loud here tonight. Sucks.
Wow. I don't know what happened there. I must have bumped a control. Like 500 watts of carrier. It's not good for pretty much everything here.
Yeah, you was up there. You was up there in the red air with the red spot of the needle.
Holy moly. Anyway. W2PHO. I've been talking for like 4 hours straight, man. This is ridiculous.
Been on here a while, huh?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I was on here for a while last night. Like 3 hours. By the time I got off and looked at the clock, it's like, God damn. Getting talked out.
I'm just glad that by 6 o'clock there was still activity.
Well, it was funny. I think 3 or 3:30 is when I switched this thing on, and everybody's signal was like rock solid, and there was no QSB at all, even up until, I don't know, an hour ago. And usually, like, you know, the tide's rolling out, and see, I'm bringing it back around there to the nautical theme, and so yeah, George was coming in strong, and Charlie. I was like, oh, the band's gonna hang out tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad it's going past 6. It's gone past 6 a lot this year, man. Hasn't been too many nights where I've come home and the band's been long. But it wasn't that way a couple years ago, or even last year, I think. It was almost long every night for a while in the winter months when I came home. So that's cool.
Okay. N1 BCG.
Wow. I'm thinking about reheating the risotto. This is where my mind is at right now.
So you're just mentally floating with the tide.
Yeah, nice tie in there. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, God. Yeah, the 80s and boats. That was fun times.
Phil's mind is on the lazy river.
Yeah, lazy river. That is the ride of the century. It's like, just show me where the lazy river is. I don't need to go down that 120-foot near vertical slide. Show me where the lazy river is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, when I die, they're gonna have a lazy river on my tombstone.
Aren't you afraid people will pee in it?
Yeah, well, they're probably gonna pee on it either way.
What is that? Blizzard Beach is the one. Blizzard Beach has got this ridiculous slide, and the kids, I'm trying to get the kids to be a little bit more, you know, adventurous, and they were both talking about going on the slide. We're afraid, Daddy, you go first, come on. I'm like, oh, don't be afraid. You could go, oh, you're not afraid, why don't you go? So I climb all the way up this thing that by the time you get to the top, right, you can see, I think, you can see the Atlantic Ocean, you could see the Gulf. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but yeah. And I thought I was dead. I hit this thing, and I felt like I was going to fall right out of the slide because it is near vertical. It's got to be about 80 degrees or something where you feel like you're going to fall right out of the slide. And I'm like, this is it. And I never went back on it again. But I showed the kids, and I got down to the bottom, and they're like, yeah, Dad, you did it. I'm like, yeah, I did it. Okay, maybe you guys shouldn't go on it. And they're like, no, we're going on it. And I was like, all right, they're a lot lighter than me, so the gravity won't take them for quite a bigger ride as I went for. But yeah, lazy river. There you go. W2PHL.
I haven't been to a water park in a while, man. I would like to. They have one down the shore in Wildwood. It's really the only one I've ever been to. It's called Raging Waters, and they have a lazy river and stuff. But God, I haven't been there since I was a little kid. I don't know. The places just skeeve me out, you know. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of people. And a lot of hair, a lot of nastiness. I don't know. They just don't sound appetizing to me in my adult years.
Hair.
I don't know, man. I'm not a hair, like, you see, like, you're walking, you see, like, I don't know, a hair on the ground, like, I don't know, I'm not a hair person, ugh. Like, when I was growing up with my sister, and when she'd get out of the shower, there'd be, like, hair on the wall, like, long hair, oh my god, it would skeeve me out.
I gotta get you tickets to the musical Hair. I just gotta find out if it's playing near you.
Very interesting. Take a seat on the couch, please.
We gotta get you a bald girlfriend, or like a Sinead O'Connor maybe would work.
I'm with you with the germs. Those indoor water parks, there's no way I would set foot in one of those. But for some reason, the outdoor ones don't skeeve me out as much.
Man, like the locker rooms, you know, like to have it, the bathrooms. I don't know, man. There's nothing good that can come out of those places.
Oh yeah, the bathrooms where it's sort of like one big puddle, you know, wherever you walk, under the urinals, around the stalls. When you walk in, it's just all one big puddle.
Yes! Oh. It's so bad.
Yeah, South Park did an episode about
you walk in there and your feet are going
where they were monitoring the pee levels in the water, and they were getting critically high. Have you seen that one?
No. God, it's so nasty.
And you walk by this one stall, and there's a guy in there.
Yeah, and it's
with his bare feet in the puddle.
And it's got that that really wet pool poop smell. Like you're a kid and you go to the bathroom, it's like got the chlorine mixed with the
And there's Perry at the urinal because he couldn't take it anymore. He had to brave it. And he's in there, and the only spot left is next to this little kid, and the little kid's doing his thing, and all of a sudden Perry feels like this sprinkling on his shin, and he looks down, and the kid's hitting the wall instead of the urinal.
Dude, that's so... Oh my God. I'm gonna go to sleep tonight, and I'm gonna dream about an indoor water park that I can't escape.
No, your nightmare is gonna culminate. The finale is gonna be you going into one of those restrooms and then slipping in the puddle and landing face down.
Or they tell you to go clean out the filter.
No, that's. Can you imagine? It probably looks like, one of you pull out a drain, it's like your hair all down.
And other things mixed in.
All pause for carrying man.
Now here's somebody who needs a modulator. How about a GoFundMe to get him started? Sir, that needs way more audio on that carrier.
Yeah, way more.
You know what men's rooms used to gross me out? The men's room at the drive-in theater with that 30-foot-long mutual urinal.
Oh, the trough?
Oh, God. And I'd go and I'd stand as far from everybody as I could.
Well, at least they were linear. In the Bronx Zoo, they had one that was
circular. Now, fun.
Whoa.
I doubled with somebody.
No, I think they double with you.
The Bronx Zoo used to have a circular community urinal.
I remember, I've never seen a circular community urinal, but I've seen the long troughs. I mean, like a 20-foot trough at a NASCAR race.
Wait, a circular one is your point that you all look at each other?
Yeah, well, I never used it. It could have been a sink now that I'm thinking about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've seen sinks made like that in big commercial men's rooms.
Huh, and all this time I thought it was the
to get
urinal.
the water to come out.
We had a circular like hand washing thing, you know, and it had like a circular soap dispenser, but I've never seen a circular urinal.
And you wondered why everybody stared at you when you walked up to it to take a leak, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, why am I so popular?
Oh man, W3 of what?
Wow, there's a lot going on in Frequency tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty busy. Pretty busy. There was a lot of AM stations. There's been a lot of AM stations. Like all the way up to 3895. Not tonight, but... Yeah.
Drifty CW guy. He's drifting up in frequency.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that could be my sync detector drifting. That's what it is.
What rig are you on tonight, Phil?
This is the FT5000.
Man, sounds good.
Yeah, with the breakaway broadcast.
That's the one you had obviously modified.
KB2 UKA.
Yo, Doug.
What's up, Perry? Sounding good, brother. How you guys doing?
Oh, good, man. It's a good signal, man. Sounding good. Yeah, Phil. That's is that the one you talked about on the air about you modifying?
Yeah, it's got a DDS modulator in it. So I'm bypassing the built-in modulator. And it's all built in the rig. So yeah, this is the one I've gone on and on about a few times.
Okay, for some reason I didn't think it was a 5000. I don't know what I thought it was. But anyway, yeah. Good evening, Doug. What are you up to?
Just getting ready for this cold, guys. I think we're all getting it. 16 tomorrow morning. Real feel of -5. It's going to be great. I was listening on the stream, Perry, about the water park stuff. And it reminded me going out east here on Long Island, Splish Splash. That one cliff diver slide that's like almost 90 degrees inverted. Man, that was crazy. Over.
Those, you guys hear that buzzing? Dude, those things scared the hell out of me. Those big, steep slides. Like, I always thought that I was going to go airborne. Because I was a little kid, dude. I was a skinny, short ginger. And I thought my soulless behind was going to fly off of that thing, and I wasn't going to come back down.
Man, I didn't go to my mid-20s, and I was scared crap. Who else is in there? Phil, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but I got your call. Yeah, Phil, who's this?
It's Doug. KB2UKA. I'm in Kings Park, Long Island. Did you say you're in the Bronx?
Affirmative. It sounds like somebody's getting a haircut out there.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's awfully strong haircut.
What, is it on my signal?
No. Somebody being a wacko.
Oh, yes. Well, YouTube brings that out in the best of us.
See? He did it for you. Yeah,
See, I'm not hearing it. I'm running Element denoiser on a separate DAW, Perry, for receive, and it wipes out all the noise. It's machine learning, and it just brings the voices out.
That's is that the one you did on your YouTube channel or whatever? Like you I think I saw that on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's the one. I've been using it like 2 weeks now. You gotta adjust it a little bit depending on conditions, but I don't know. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it seemed to work really good, actually. That's cool, man. Yeah, that guy's, it's not bad. I don't really hear him. But that would be nice for a situation like mine, because I do have a pretty high noise level. And, at times. But, whatever. It's all fun. But, yeah, I don't use any digital, digital processing or anything like that. Always wanted to, just never did.
So, do you use the 200D just for receive, or are you transmitting on that now?
Oh, no, I'm transmitting on it. Transmit and receive. And I use the built-in process, the CFC audio tools. That's built into the software, into Thetis and SM7B, into a Behringer UMC 202 USB, A to D converter. And then virtual audio cable into the Anon. Just try to keep it, compact.
Yeah, it's real good. It sounds good. My kids are doing a concert in the other room, so if you hear screaming, that's them. The noise gate's not going to blank them out, trust me. There's some talk that Richie and the guys at Expert are looking to add VST plugins into this software. That would be a game changer.
I haven't messed with any of the recent updates with Thetis at all. Richie's been doing a ton of work again. I know he went under hiatus, and he's been going at it. I haven't actually been on the forum in quite some time, but are you saying he's going to do that for Thetis, or for like the Sun SDR, for what you're running?
Well, I'm in the test group for the Sun SDR software. So I'm on their GitHub, I don't know what you call it, node, whatever the hell it is. But there's talk there that because it's in development, guys want them to add VST capability to the right built in. And that's something I would use, because I'm using Logic Pro now for all of that. And then I heard from a buddy that there was talk on the forum for Anon to get that as well. So I'm assuming, which you know what happens when people do that, but I'm assuming it's Thetis or whatever, and then it would be Richie.
Yeah, yeah, Thetis. Yeah, Richie's been like the main guy. Him and Doug have W5WC's Doug's call. Yeah, but Richie's been like really adding like a lot of people would just put this in there, put that in there, and he's just like, okay, and puts it in. It's pretty wild, man. But maybe I should go on there, see, because I use a little different way to get my audio into here. It's a modified channel master file that it's just specifically for my Behringer. I have another channel master for my PreSonus mic pre. And it like sets up the buffers and the sampling rate and everything, so I don't have to have the VAC button, the virtual audio cable button, enabled. And I have audio. I get audio on the second receiver, because before you'd have to have the VAC on, to get your audio, your transmit audio into the thing, and then since you have VAC on, you couldn't hear the audio out of the second receiver. So this way everything works, and I can use virtual audio cable to plumb the audio from here into OBS, which works really good. And that's honestly why I haven't messed with any of the new updates that Richie's made, because the Channel Master doesn't work. He'd have to make one every single time that he did an update. So that's honestly the only reason I haven't messed with it.
Hey, Perry.
Yes.
Just a quick question. What's the connection between your audio processor and your Anon?
Virtual audio cable.
Is that an analog or digital connection?
It's a digital connection.
Interesting. So the sample rate is locked between the two?
Yes. You can also you can change it. With this modified Channel Master I'm running, it's locked in. I forget what it's locked at, what the sample rate is, 48K or something. But if I wanted to, I could go into the menu and run, like, put the virtual audio cable button on in the Anon, and I could go in there and adjust the sample rate up to like 192 if I wanted to. The buffer's all the way down to 64. You can adjust your buffer latency, the ring buffers. Everything's adjustable.
Okay. The reason I bring it up, sorry to derail the conversation here, but the reason I bring that up is I'm still thinking over Gordon's issue with his processor and his Anon.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's going in the line input. So basically, right from, I know he was saying like with the Optimod into the PC, and he's controlling that on the PC, but he's coming back out of the PC and into the line in jack on the back of his Anon. I have a line in jack too, which I could plug in a rack or whatever and put my audio into it that way.
I have a comment here.
Okay.
So I had the Anon, and I always use the analog input. I guess that's what Gordon is using, because the virtual audio cable added just a little bit more latency, which I could not stand. Because for whatever wacky reason, I have to live monitor my signal, and I couldn't do it with virtual audio cable. It just added a little bit more latency. So I would just run the output of the Behringer right into if I was using breakaway audio, which is in the computer, obviously, the analog output of the 202 to the input of the 7000. The pitfall there, and I think I mentioned this to Gordon once or twice, but I don't know if he was paying attention or listening to what I was saying, but the Anon will pick up some RF, especially with the mic input. So you've got to wrap some ferrites around that thing, because you will get a little bit of RF in there, and you'll hear that little, and I think that's what I'm hearing on his audio, although it could be plenty of other things. And that's one of
ding, ding, ding.
the reasons that using the analog input can be a problem when you're running an amplifier. Anyway, W2PHR.
Nail on the head.
Yeah. Well, I want to say it's one of three things. It's either that, or it's really rough on digital circuits to put clipped audio in. They don't handle that well. So if the Anon has an analog input, and then for whatever reason digitizes that, it creates all kinds of issues to take basically a pre-clipped waveform and digitize it. I don't know why. I just know that that's the case. It's really bad to do that. And then the third thing, it was just the sampling issue, but I think it's either what Bill said or what I originally said.
Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, wait, is it me? Yeah, I'll go. So allegedly the most recent Thetis update gets rid of almost all that latency that you're speaking about. And the more and more I use the Sun SDR, and the more I speak to my buddies who have Anons, the more I think these were built for virtual audio. So I used to run an actual analog rack, but I ran it into a audio interface, and then I still USB'd the audio into the SDR. I think you run into, someone said it, obviously you have more opportunity for RFI issues, that's one. But I think you have more latency issues, and now that Thetis seems to be really dialed in, on the latency aspect. I hear guys are reporting unnoticeable latency in their monitor.
Yeah, I can't notice really any in the latency, but it took a while to get it set up like that though. Using the right sample rate, the buffer, and then the buffer, you're setting the buffer latency and having them in manual, and then setting it that way, not having all that stuff automatic. I got the settings from my dad, and I couldn't figure it out to get the latency out. He's like, here, try this, and boom boom boom, there was no latency anymore. It was insane. So I can't take the credit for figuring that out, but whatchamacallit, Phil, you brought up a great point about the RF, because the other day I was monitoring took a recording off a WebSDR, and was noticing like there was more sibilance than I had before. It was like this tinniness that I wasn't hearing, and I had forgot that I had taken a ferrite core off of the USB cable that goes from the UMC 202 into the PC, and I put a 240 Mix 31 core right on there, a bunch of wraps, plugged it back in, and everything was fine. But it just added a little bit of this edginess to the audio and a little more sibilance than what was really there.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, everything here is, my amplifier and the tuning network and everything is like a few feet apart, and the computer and all of that stuff. So it's not a good environment here. This is far from a perfect setup for high or decent fidelity audio and transmitting. and I definitely noticed that with the Anon. It's just the Flex. I got a little Flex 1500. It's like bulletproof. It doesn't need any ferrites, but the Anon did need some ferrites. And then once I put those on, the ins and outs, it was completely clean after that.
Is the Anon balanced or unbalanced input?
Unbalanced.
Eek.
Yep.
Hence why you want to go virtual, I think.
I'd stick a transformer in front of it. Yeah, or if you go really nuts, make it active balance.
Yeah, I had a transformer on the output of my rack going into the Anon when I first got it. Was running my rack with it. Good evening, Chris.
Oh, good evening, all W2JBL. God, I haven't been on the air in weeks.
Hey, Chris. Good evening. I haven't heard you in a year, maybe. I don't even know. W2PHL.
No, it's been a lot more recent than that. I've been... Well, every time I go to get on 75 for the last 2 weeks, it seems the band is long. I go down to 160 and there's nobody home.
30 over in Long Island.
Who's that?
This is Doug, KB2UKA.
What the hell is that sidebander doing? Try it again, Doug. I missed your call.
Hey, it's Kilo Bravo 2, Uniform Kilo Alpha, 50 miles east of wonderful Manhattan, right on...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I grew up across the water from here in Westchester. I'm 50 miles upwind of Manhattan in Hopewell Junction in Dutchess County. We got a good signal up here.
All right, Roger. Yep, I know Hopewell. Nice up there. Yeah, you're 30 over. Booming in.
Jeez. Anyway, I'll be right back. I gotta go grab my dinner. I got chicken and dumplings that are hot. Be right back. There'll be 3 of them.
Perry, I'm gonna get out of here. Just want to say hello, guys. Thanks for the quick one. I'll listen out. KB2UKA.
Hey, Doug, man. Thanks for stopping in, dude. Thanks for the email, too. I just got it. I'll check it out later. 7-3, dude. It's always a pleasure. W3MMR.
And, Doug, very good audio up here from you, W2JBL.
Thanks, guys. And, Perry, that'll take about a half hour to render. It's Google Drive. It's slow as crap. All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, good hearing you, Doug. Nice meeting you tonight. It's W2PHL.
Take care. KB2UK4.
I don't even want to ask how cold it is up there, Chris.
Excuse me. Hang on a second. I like 17.
Let's wait till tomorrow morning.
I don't care. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't even have to go out and make a beer on the lawn. Doesn't bother me that much anyway, you know. Cold. Although I've lost weight since I retired, so the cold bothers me a little bit more now. We did get glazed the other morning. Was it Saturday morning? I forgot. Friday morning. I woke up, everything was glazed. About an eighth of an inch of ice. It was bizarro world.
Grazed 7.5 big inches here.
Really? No. This wasn't the snow. No, we only got like 4. That was a different day. We got like 4 inches of snow, and then the night after, the next morning, everything was glazed after the snow was on the ground for 24 hours. It rained overnight. No, we didn't get a lot of snow here. It's a nuisance.
Yeah, there's an L and an R thing going on now. Clark is hearing graze and Chris is saying glaze. There you go.
Donuts.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We're going to get like 11 degrees tomorrow morning.
You know, I found in the city, and not even so much in the city, but in certain areas where certain types of miscreants are prevalent, they're not out on the street when it's that cold, nor are the illegal aliens.
Yeah, it's a great time to go for a walk.
I was, oh Jesus, what's that? Parkchester. I had to work at the radio systems in Parkchester. Best time to go to Parkchester was before school got out on a day when it was like 6 degrees out.
Yeah, or like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, actually, yeah, there's a window that actually ended about 11 a.m. or so. 11 a.m. noon, the drug people that are coming out of their coffins, that are going to go out on the street, that's when they start. The cold tends to keep them in the vestibule.
Well, I'm getting called to the other room here. I think we're going to have something to eat, and then maybe it's going to be TV time or something. So it's nice to hear the band on, working at this particular hour. And good hearing you, Chris. Gosh, I'm sorry I got to pull out of here right now, but hopefully we'll catch you again soon.
Yeah, I get my sorry ass on the air. It's been bad timing, you know? By the time I get in the radio room, 7 o'clock, 7:30, bam, 75 years is going long. See you later, Phil. Nice signal up here.
Yeah, down here as well, 30 to 40 over, Chris. Sounding really good. And Clark, I think you're the last of Mohegans from earlier QSO. I don't know if Charlie's still there, but Clark, Charlie, Chris, and Perry, if you're in the wings there, you guys have a great night. Catch you later. W2PHL.
Have the finest business evening ever.
Up 7-3, Phil. I think Perry is chowing down. So he's not waiting in the wings, he's chowing down on wings.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Or whatever chicken one can get in these times. There's an actual chicken shortage.
Chicken shortage.
There is a shortage of chicken. A lot of restaurants in New York City are only serving up thighs and wings. They can't get white meat. Now, I don't know about that nice little supermarket at the bottom of the hill from you, but a nice little supermarket up the road from here, ShopRite. I went to buy toilet paper, among other things, today. Well, you can't get toilet paper around here anymore. People are hoarding again.
They need some THC-infused toilet paper to calm everyone's ass down.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, I think there's a market for it.
Somebody's probably making suppositories by now. Oh, God. Hey, has Timmy been around?
I have heard him on here and 40. I have not talked to him directly, but he's been around.
Maybe I'll even call him on the phone. He sent me a very interesting package. He sent me a National SW3 receiver from 1933, which is the twin to the one my father had at his super station that him and his best friend assembled in the mid-30s. And went through it and changed some caps and stuff. It's a screen grid RF amplifier and regenerative detector and one-stage audio. And man, the thing rocks.
Oh, you're fixing it up for him.
No, I'm fixing it up for me.
Wow, that's a hell of a gift. Talking about ham fairies.
Yeah. Well, I had mentioned that the auction place had a bunch of them for sale and so on. I didn't win any of the auctions. I mentioned to him about that. He says, "Would you like to have one?" I said, "Hell yeah!" And he sent it down, beautifully packed. Very old buzzard receiver. I'm thinking of pairing it with my Type 10 Hartley self-excited oscillator transmitter for a vintage station, and I'm going to Heising modulate the oscillator.
Nice emphasis.
Yes, I'm going to use the primary of like a Ranger mod transformer or something like that for an identical Type 10 triode. Now I just got to come up with the right combination of tubes and audio transformers for the speech amp. And then I'll cheat and feed with processed audio.
That's very cool. Yeah, actually the first, interestingly, what my introduction to Heising modulation was from the very first YAM transmitter I ever had, which was a Graymark 505. You know, the typical, like everybody made kits for these, the 250C5s and 12AX7, that deal.
Yeah, I never had one, but I'm well aware of them and their safety issue.
Oh, you mean the no transformer? That's right. Oh my God. You don't realize it when you're young what a big issue it was. But yeah, one lead from the two-conductor power cord went right to the power supply negative, and the single diode half-wave rectification. But they got away with it because they had, what was it, like a 47K resistor in series with both the B plus and the ground by the time it got to the audio stage. So if you happen to ground if you happen to be holding your microphone and touch your other hand to a grounded object, it would be actually the 120 volts, but it would be through a 47,000 ohm dropping resistor, so it would be okay. It would be a learning experience, not a fatality.
Cool. Yeah, limit the current. Oh, God. I never had one of those, but one of my first transmitters was a science project that I brought to school, junior high school. Fast rewind to 1970. I built this AC/DC transmitter. I forget what the hell I used for tubes in it. It might have been a pair of 50C5s. It was crystal controlled and link coupled output. And I brought that thing to school one day, and I had a ham friend of mine across town listen for me when I got out of school at 3 o'clock. I went outside with this thing. There were some outdoor AC outlets. And this is the Homick School in Mamaroneck. I plugged, I think I threw like 20 or 30 feet of wire in the bushes and plug this thing in. The telegraph key is on my knee as I'm kneeling, on the side of the building. And kids are walking by looking at me like I'm crazy on the way home. And I got between the key, and that's the day I discovered that damp concrete is a very good conductor.
Oh, hell yeah. It's amazing. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. It's shocking. I had to catch myself. Yes, surprisingly so.
Oh, yeah. But my friend did hear me at a distance of a mile or so. So that's Parks on the Air 1970.
Yeah, Parks on the Air in air quotes.
Yep. I heard Tim complaining about Parks on the Air the other day. I think I heard him. He was talking about it. Might have been complaining about it. So I guess you've noticed you get these pop-up pile-ups, random frequencies, always in the AM window. There's a Parks on the Air deal. I've been looking into this, looking at this guy's website. Man, he's a 501c3. I want to find out who his corporate donors are. Because you see ads in the radio magazines for various radio toys and trinkets, and they say, great for Parks on the Air. I think this guy's running a business.
How to make money off of ham radio. Is that something? It seems like I don't really know a lot about Parks on the Air. I hear them a lot, but I also hear them a lot to the point where it's like, are they on every weekend? Is that like a recurring event?
24/7, 365, forever. And they have a monthly total, for the stations work. They're keeping score like on a monthly basis. You go on the website, parksonair.com, and you see all this crap, but there is apparently no end to it planned.
Are you serious? It's just like continuous events, so you at any moment, regardless of where you are, you can just go to a park, set up, and you're a Parks on the Air station?
Yeah, it's a little more involved than that. You got to register, join, and post when your activation is going to be, time and frequency and location, and there's certain qualifications you got to meet to put that for a particular park to be eligible for it. But yeah, there's no end in sight. It's going to go forever. So if you like your one of the favorites seems to be 7288 during the day when there's AM operation, and it happens here. Yeah, the Parks on the Air stations are always pissweakers. They're portables. The problem is they're followers that turn up. All of a sudden you got this pop-up pile-up out of nowhere. And these people are in contest mode. They're running high power, and the processor is cranked.
Gad. Well, to counter that, Bob W2ENY has got a great idea. He's doing a lot of remote operations that has very frequently been on from his favorite watering hole. So we're sort of coming up with our own idea of Boda, Bars on the Air.
Oh, I like that. Who did that? Oh, Steve did that from some bar. I think he was at some Nearfest celebration. It was a public bar. He was putting chicks on the air and stuff like that. It was a few years ago.
Okay, this could go in many different directions. Which Steve? He was putting chicks on the air?
Yeah, he was in a bar or a restaurant, and he was remote, I guess, with his phone, and he was putting random people in the bar on the air.
Boy, this is a side of Steve I didn't know existed.
Yeah, pretty sure it was a few years ago. It was interesting.
So much for that. What does he do Sunday mornings? He's a pallbearer? No, he's some kind of a church participant. Boy, out at bars putting girls on the air. Holy cow.
Just random people. Yeah, I don't know about now. He was at one time the deacon in his church. And speaking of church, I gotta go to the church in the refrigerator and get a beverage. Go get 2 gin.
Boy, and speaking of deacon, now I feel like I want to listen to Steely Dan. All right, I'll catch you in a minute. And 1 BCG. Because they call me Deacon Blues. Just an FYI for everyone loitering on frequency. And there's that tune-up right nearby. which I hear and I know that looks ugly on the pan adapter. Sorry, folks. Which brings us to our next point here. Look at that, 7:30 almost on a Monday evening. Good evening, 3873 denizens. Well, I'll tell you, people have hissy fits over how they can never get in on the queue. So this, right now, great time to do it. I'd say real estate values on this frequency are at a real low.
Listening to the pattern of doubling and stuff that goes on, which kind of dovetails with the, I can't get in. I think the latency of whatever SDR a lot of these people trying to break in, remote SDR they're listening on, the latency is causing them to be way, way late on the trigger, I think, in a lot of cases. I was listening to an SDR down in Georgia the other day that gauge how well those idiots in the southern nets of AM hear us. And this thing in Georgia, the latency was 1.5 seconds.
I absolutely 100% agree with that, because I have thought that for a bit. Ever since I tried listening on a SDR and I realized, wow, I'll never be able to be in a fast keying conversation here. How could I? By the time I hear someone unkey, the next person's already talking. This is terrible.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with it. There's an awful lot of people that cheat by doing that. It leads to doubling, and I'm sure it leads to, I can't break in.
Absolutely. You know, I'm surprised it's so quiet tonight, meaning participation-wise, because the band is good. Maybe just the fact that it's Monday night. I'm not sure. I'm not usually on Monday nights. Or is that right? I don't have no idea. It's already been a long day, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. N1 BCG.
Yeah, W2JD. Yeah, I'm surprised, too, because like you said, the band is in nice shape. I was downstairs playing with the little National SW3, and you guys were coming in on 6 feet of wire. Excuse me, on the floor. Then again, I know even myself, I'll get, the last couple of weeks, the way the band's been going at night, get lulled into this complacency that, it's 7 o'clock, the band is long. I don't bother to get on the air.
That's happened to me a couple of times. I'll be in a conversation with a bunch of folks, and then 6 o'clock comes along. That everyone gets flung off by dinner calls, YLs, wanting them to do this or do that or whatever. So that's it, and the signals start to fade away anyway, and it's like, I guess that's it. Figures it's wintertime. So I go do other stuff, and then like 8 o'clock at night, I'll just flip the radio on to see who's coming in. You know what? 9 landers or whatever thawing in, and the whole crew's right back there again. So yeah, it's amazing. I think the ionosphere flicks us all off, or tries to, and then comes back with a vengeance.
One thing I've been tracking, somebody mentioned that when the solar flux gets above 100, I think the band doesn't go long. So what I've started to do, what I do anyways, every morning when I get up, I walk in here and I turn on the CB and I scan the 40 channels to see if the band is open, because 6 meters could be open. And mornings when 10 meters and CB are wide open, those evenings 75 does not go long.
Wow. There's some kind of an expression waiting to be made, like red in the morning, sailors take warning.
Yeah, red sky at night, sailors delight, red sky in morning, sailors take warning. Yeah, my dad taught me that one.
So, if 27 meters is good in the morning, then 75 meters should be good in the evening.
Yeah, I pointed it out. It's one of the I'm bad with the solar numbers, but I think it's either the solar flux, one of those factors. If it's over a certain threshold, I think 100, that allows, F2 skip on 10 meters on the higher bands, and at the same time, things are more stable on 40 and 75 at night. I can't remember who it might have been Tim mentioned that, and I just took the shortcut of all right, I'll see if CB is open.
So you think maybe Tim Tron should author the Amateur Operator's Almanac and just make it a little paperback of all this old wisdoms?
Oh yeah, and propagation forecasts, for the year. Mid-June conditions yellowy.
Absolutely. That's interesting. So we're able to talk right now, and it's 9. It's 7:30. So what? If I put on a CB, it should be good.
No, that's done by 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Pretty much. Today it wasn't today. A couple of days ago, the band was open all afternoon. Generally, the F2 skip this time of year is not E-skip either, because I'm here in freaking Europe on CB at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's usually gone by 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Interesting.
And then, the bands below that, 15 and 17 and so on, the lower they are, the later they close. And 20's been good. 20 will be open all day.
Well, there's a lot of folks letting it go to waste, but there was a great group in here yesterday. You should have been around then. There was it was nonstop banter and quite a few in attendance.
What time?
Most of the. Let's see. Well, because it was a Sunday, I was on early, so I guess probably 4 to 8. I mean, it was at least then.
I heard part of it on, around 7 o'clock probably. That's usually when I go downstairs to work. 6:30, 7 o'clock. And I was working on the little old buzzard receiver. Changed a bunch of caps in it, this and that, but I was listening off and on as I was working on it, so I did I did hear you guys on that thing. It was a good group, but I'm not going to say I'm restoring. I'm repairing this old radio, and oh boy, it's a handful to operate. And every cap I change, it gets better. There's less of a handful to operate, but you got to juggle the RF gain, the regeneration, and the tuning, and they all affect each other. To tune somebody in on AM and get the regeneration just right and phase lock on the signal, just like a sync detector. You almost need 3 hands. It's quite an interesting look into what operating a station was like, in the 30s.
Yeah, they earned it back then.
The funny thing is, I have a regen receiver that my father built in the early 60s for my brother, who had no interest in ham radio. That, didn't fly. But years later, I think the mid-60s, my father gave it to me. I loved it. I still have that thing. It's cute. It's got an AC power supply in it, plug-in coils, 6SN7 detector, regen detector and audio. That thing is way easier to operate than the SW3 with the RF stage and everything. The home brew receiver is beautiful. I got the sideband on it.
So this receiver that you got it's a single tube. It does everything with one tube.
No, it's 3 tubes. It has a pair of 6D6s in the RF, the regenerative detector, and then a Type 76, which is the equivalent of a 6J5 or a 6C4 audio amplifier, which conducts its plate current through the coils of my 100-year-old Brandy's headphones, which have exposed metal terminals with the D+ on them.
Any thought about putting a DC blocking transformer in there?
I put a little audio driver transformer in between that and my head.
Right.
I'm just not going there, you know. Oh God! But I did put a 6L6 output transformer on it. It was actually able to drive a speaker, probably get a quarter of a watt of audio out of it or something like that. But, Google it, National SW3 or National SW3 Thrill Box. I was looking online before, I was learning the history of it. They made 10,000 of them between like 1930 and 1952.
I just did a Google search for Thrill Box, and it's a porn site. Hold on a second.
National SW-3.
Alright, so here we go, SW-3. Oh, holy cow, look at this. What a cool looking receiver. Oh wow, there's even a schematic on here. That is really wild. Yeah, it's got to be a fun project, as you said, as you get the caps replaced. It becomes easier and easier to operate. That is really something. Wow, there's a great picture here of one of those. I'm going to definitely check it out.
Yeah, and the one Tim sent me is in very nice shape. It's plug-in coils. Thank God, the coils that are in it are 75-meter band spread coils. You know, like an HRO, you can have band spread or general coverage coils. But I went to eBay to see if I could find some other coil sets like broadcast band 160 and 40. To find that they are expensive.
Any chance of getting coil forms? Make your own?
Yeah, or I could make coil forms out of pill bottles. That's not a big deal. It's a complex wind. There's 3 windings on each one.
Oh, because it's got the regenerative winding?
Well, it's got an RF amplifier. It's got a link on it for the input. And then the plate coil for the RF amplifier has... Actually, they both have 3 windings on them. It's a little strange. I have the wire. I have the magnet wire collection from, oh God, number 40 to like number 18. Like a doom. And the specs for them are out there, but it's not an easy wind. Whether the tickler and everything are interwound with the other windings.
Oh, I see the what diagram is this? This looks like it, but it's how many coils are plug-in?
2, detector and RF.
Right. Wow. This is very old school.
What's new school about it at the time it was introduced was a controversial feature, is single knob tuning. At that time, it was more common to have separate vernier dials for RF and detector, even up into the early superhet days, even into the mid-30s superhet days. The homebrew receivers would have separate RF and detector tuning, but this has a ganged tuning condenser.
William, good old radio.
Hi, Steve. Now I was going to finish up my thought process on the 7360. See, I got the 300 from Rogers CZH in 71. And I made a lot of changes, you know, Crapstel controlled the second mixer oscillator. I did things like that, besides re-whipped the audio. And playing around with the 7360. I wanted to do a balanced mixer, but in order to do it, I'd have to rip the whole receiver's front end apart. And I was not up for doing that. I was not up for drastically changing the landscape. If I was building a receiver from the ground up, that's different, but I wasn't. So I just made do with what I had. But then speaking of diode balanced mixers is in both the R388 here and the HQ110. I'm using a 6 JU8, which is a quad, quadruple diode, which each two sets of diodes are wired in series, and they're the series. They brought the base pin, so it's a full-way bridge detector in a package. So I'm thinking of, I've yet to figure out exactly or take the time to putz around with it, but I'm thinking of, when I put the thing in the mode to receive slot bucket, of turning it into a ring product detector. See what that does, but that might be a very clean way to receive slot bucket. So that's the story. That's the story. It all depends on how much time one has and if one wants to spend the time. 7360s are made of unobtainium. And I am going to play around with some forms of triode mixers, Cascode, triode front ends, and that kind of thing. And see if I can come up with receiver modifications that aren't too outrageous where you've got to rip everything apart just to accommodate a given sometimes the Orban compressor limiter gets whacked with something and it hangs up, the gating circuit doesn't release, and I notice that the modulation drops way off, and I gotta rap and tap on the front panel with my finger, and then she clears. So there's an iffy connection in there. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I want to go down to 160 for a bit. I got phone calls to make. I don't want to be talking to people too late. And that's the story. Conditions are real good, so go ahead there, Steve. I'm going to be listening out, but I did want to get those comments out there before the weather of the QSO completely changes. So that's the stuff.
Gotta go to dinner.
Go ahead there, Steve. WA1QIX from WA1H Yellow. I'm just going to be listening out.
Yeah, okay. Make sure I'm not doubling. I have some information that you need to know.
Okay, I'm listening.
Chris JBL was on here tonight, and he sounded perfect.
Oh, good.
Yep. He was on earlier. I think he was down on 3873, actually, talking to that other group down there. So he was on and sounded totally normal and chipper, and all was right with the world.
Well, that's good news. That's great news. Thank you.
No problem. And hi, Gordon. I'm eating a salad here and some bachelor chili that I made. Yes, bachelor chili. It is really good. Gordon, I'll throw it right over to you. Frank, you're really strapping. Ted is. Everybody is. Everybody. The conditions are amazing. Yep. I had bought an avocado about 4 days ago, and it's been sitting on the counter here ripening, and it was perfect. I cut into it and said, man, there's not one bruise on that thing. It was super soft. So I put the whole thing on the salad, because if I eat half of it, tomorrow it'll be all brown. And, what a waste of a perfect avocado. So I'm eating it here. And some chili. So, Gordon, right over to you. W2GOR, WA1QIX.
Okay, got the dinner call here, so just a quick hello to everybody. Hope everybody's well. Tim, hope you're doing good up there and your eyes are good. And we'll try to check in later, guys. Have fun.
Swine business, old man. Maybe I'll catch you later. I'm heading to 160 here for a bit.
Hey, Tim, what do you think of the 12 AT7?
I certainly saw and was involved with the BC1T transmitter transformation at the ARL, but those are big transmitters. I've never been able to get my head around the idea of having something of that size at a home and using that as a ham radio transmitter.
Well, you put casters on it. I can roll my Johnson kilowatt around. I roll the 4-1000 amplifier around. No problem at all. Good evening, Daryl. Man, you're blowing smoke in here. You're 50 over, and it looks great on the scope, and it sounds really good.
Putting a smile on my face. Yeah, you're doubling with clock a little bit. Oh yeah, we got caster rollers on this thing. I think we got 6 of them. Yeah, 6 of them. Yeah, Clark, it's something, man. Grandkids come in and say, "Pop, Pop, is that a refrigerator?" I fucking fell out.
I love that.
Well,
And my grandson is like 4 years old. He stood up. He wanted to walk inside. The door came open. He wanted to walk in. He could have. Hey, Clark. He actually could have fit right inside.
Yes, he could have, but do you have that gate, that metal mesh up on the front, so he can't do that?
Yeah. Yeah, like the wire mesh screen or something like that. Yeah, he gave me that. And man, none of my friends haven't been over here yet on my brother-in-law. I'm gonna tell them, hey, can you go in that room in there and get me a beer out that refrigerator? I can't wait to pull these little jokes on people when they come in here. I'm like, can you go get me a beer out of the refrigerator?
Yeah, I just got to put some, like, refrigerator magnets and stuff like that up there.
Yeah. Hello, Chris. All right, then. Well, I just got in, so let it warm up just a little more. So you're sounding good. Band is really in good shape. Wow. All right, then, Clark. Chris, I'll be standing by.
Right. Well, I echo what Chris says. Like I said, it does sound real good. How could it not, given what it is?
Yeah, Daryl. Cool transmitter, definitely. I think I mentioned this before. Clark, that rig that he has, the Quad 833s, that's the first broadcast transmitter I ever saw in person, up close, in Boonville, New York. Yeah, I think I did tell you that. I was just transfixed. Unbelievable. That really built the fire under me to want to get a job sitting reading the New York Post and taking meter readings every hour.
Was it a BC1T also?
It was a Quad 833s, 900 kilocycles in Boonville, New York. It's kilowatt.
Well, the reason why I ask is because that arrangement was used for several models. I mean, like the Greenwich station had 2 BC1Gs, and it was the same thing. Actually, it turns out there's very little difference, like a design difference in the cabinet. But circuit-wise, the BC1G and the T are
I haven't talked to you in quite a while. A SHU. I'll even log in here. Yeah, go ahead. N8SHU WA1QIX.
Yeah, the band sounds a little noisy. Copies up and down. I don't know. How are you hearing me out there?
Perfectly, no problem.
Yeah, I had to send my flex in. I think I had something wrong with the firewire port. I sent it in for repair. And I'm using a Collins receiver, and it's totally different. Well, it's a lot different.
Yeah, the flex is right up there in the receiver department.
So, what you been doing, Steve? What's new? What's happened? Is your house done yet? I know I didn't get mine done yet.
Let Doug know he's quit Q5 here in Maine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Make sure I'm not doubling. Yeah, Tim, I'm sure Doug is hearing you because your signal's good. Yeah, no, the house is not done yet. I did add a second floor to a two-car garage that's here. I don't want to tie it up here too much, and I know you're not hearing that well, but yeah, no, it's about the same. Excuse me. As maybe I haven't talked to you since I put the garage, the addition over the garage. Anyway, there's a bunch of other folks in here, so I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Yeah, I don't know, Tim, if people are going to go down to 160 unless the band dies. But boy, right now it's showing no signs of dying.
Oh, I know. But I just want to exercise my free radio spirit.
Let's see, you hit minus 28 dBm.
Yeah, you're right up there too. It's the band is incredible.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't NICAD on us.
Well, 40 died a very slow death instead of going off over the precipice into the weeds.
Yeah, it died kind of slow.
Yeah, just gradually weaker and weaker. Yep. I'm probably going to want to crash and charge up my batteries. Maybe do a little bit of late night radio because it's going to be a wicked cold day tomorrow and might be a good night for Coast to Coast AM here on 75.
Boy, it is going to be cold tomorrow. They're talking about 4 degrees below zero and a really strong wind.
Same up here.
It's going to be a good solar day, so it'll be 80 degrees in the house.
Anyway, I may be back. This is WA1H and LR. I was just wanting to say hello to Doug. Hadn't heard you on a long time.
Real good, Tim. Yeah, how you doing? Happy New Year. I haven't been on in a long time. I just got one of my transmitters up and running and just got radioactive again, so working on the house, trying to get this beast finished.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was using a more local antenna for receiving, but on the array, you're right up there with most of the others.
A good signal, Tim. We've got 8 to 9S units. Pretty good on this meter anyway. I'm on the Collins 7584, so it's a little different than the Flex. But almost 9S units. Sounds good. Nice and strong.
All right, very good. All right, I'll catch you on later. This is WA1H and y'all on.
You're hitting 30 over, Tim.
I guess that's good. I don't know what the noise floor is.
Down around minus 100.
Well, I would say that's a HiFi fine business signal to noise ratio.
You're like a giant sequoia tree on the display.
I heard a KC9 KRU in there. Not real strong, but you're making it to the state of Maine, Cameron. Well, it sounds kind of undermodulated, and you have all the fine attributes of a Valiant. You got hum. You got a little bit of audio distortion and restricted audio. So, it needs work. But signal-wise, you're not real strong, but you're on the edge of being Q5 here in the state of Maine.
Other than that, it sounds perfect. By the way, Chris JBL is down on 3875 right now.
All right, thanks.
73-ish, I should say.
Hey Steve, all that Medicare talk yesterday, I cracked a filling last night and had to go to the dentist today.
No, that's a pain. Now, is that covered by anything or no?
No. I don't have a dental plan. My dentist told me to just pay cash for stuff. He said it would be cheaper in the long run because I have decent teeth, and said that would be probably the cheapest way to go. Just pay as you go. I thought I was going to have to get a crown. I mean, the filling was probably 50 years old. It was an old silver one. One of the last couple I have. And he looked at it and he goes, nah, you don't need a crown. I can easily fix it. You know, of course, it feels like the Grand Canyon when the thing breaks off. But he said it didn't look that bad. He took some x-rays and he says, nah, the tooth is still okay. So he didn't recommend doing a crown. So he popped the filling in it, and I was out of there in about 20 minutes. So anyway, that was my excitement for the day. But it's kind of funny after all of that Medicare talk yesterday.
Yeah. Very good. WMGF said WA1QIX here. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I don't have a dental plan. I'm just kind of, paying out of pocket. Now you got Invisalign to straighten my teeth out. They're going to be all straight here after a while. And that was $8,000. But you know what? That was the cheapest solution. I went to one guy and he said, "Oh yeah, we can do that." $24,000. It was literally 3 times as much money. So I I did some research and finally talked to the local guy, and he looked at it. He said, "We can use Invisalign there, and even if we have to use Invisalign Comprehensive, which is what I needed." I said the most it could be $8,000, which it was because I needed the Comprehensive. But yeah, hell of a lot better than $24,000, I'll tell you.
Wow, that's amazing. When Donna had braces, we had the option to pay cash up front, and got a discount, and it was $5,000 for the whole deal. So, of course, that was a few years ago, but man, stinking filling was $313.
Oh yeah, I know. Fillings, they get you for them. They get you for them. Yeah, I know what you mean. I have one tooth that is possibly cracked. He said, "Yeah, we may have to crown that or may not, depending on what happens." But yeah, orthodonture is pretty expensive. I have a complicated case because my teeth are very crooked and overlapping and stuff like that. It's pretty complex. But I've been using the Invisalign for about November, 2.5 months, and I mean I can already see a big difference. It's amazing. You put these little plastic things in your mouth and they actually move your teeth.
Yeah. Yeah, Donna still uses a retainer, and I mean it's almost 20 years ago when she had braces, but she said if she doesn't wear her retainer, she can feel her teeth move after a couple days. So she religiously puts it in every night.
Oh yeah, you have to. They told me that too. He said, you have to wear a retainer for the rest of your life, as most people do who have orthodonture. So yeah, but it keeps everything in place. Otherwise, they'll revert back.
Yeah. Yeah, last week Peter had his lower wisdom teeth pulled. Because his teeth were starting to get a little crooked on the bottom. Kind of like the way my dad's were. And I have giant wisdom teeth. I mean, my bottom wisdom teeth are about 3/4 of an inch from front to back. So I'm sitting in the waiting room while they're doing it, and I can hear the dentist, that was just inside the, the treatment area. I could hear him in there with a hammer and chisel busting up the teeth to get him out. So when I heard tink, 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 I said, oh, man, Peter must be enjoying that. But they got him out okay. He's doing fine today. And, you know, he had him out Thursday, and by Sunday he was doing okay.
Wow. It sounds like you have all of your teeth. I have all mine as well, including the wisdom teeth. My wisdom teeth aren't as big as yours. Sounds like you have really big wisdom teeth. I actually have space behind my wisdom teeth there. That's the way, the shape of my mouth. But everything's crowded in the front, so they're going to move stuff around and to make room in the front for everything. Yeah, dentistry. Yeah, I wasn't too unhappy with the price to do Invisalign. And Invisalign is good. There's no braces or wires. It's a completely different system. Every 2 weeks you get a new set of aligners and you snap them in, and they feel tight for about 3 days, and then after a while, as the teeth move, they get looser and looser, and then 2 weeks goes by, you pop the next set in, and they give you 26 sets of aligners, top and bottom. At the end of it, your teeth are straight. So that's how good old Invisalign works. Anyway, don't monopolize the conversation with the orthodonture net here. WA1QIX.
I guess it's just you and me. Yeah, I wonder how many impressions they have to take. I wonder how they know what the next step is without taking an impression. Because I know Donna had to do it a few times. But anyway, I'm missing. I lost one molar. It cracked right down the center, so they couldn't save that. It's the tooth in front of the wisdom tooth. On my right side, my wisdom tooth is still inside my gum. It never came out. But the tooth in front of it, I cracked right down the middle. I bit into a hamburg once and bit a chunk of bone, and I think that's what caused the fracture. And when I was a kid, on my upper right, I had a tooth grow inside the bridge of my mouth. There was no room for it, so they had to pull that one. And then in the front, I have one tooth that never came out. It's down inside my gum. I can feel it, a lump in my gums. With my tongue, I can feel it. It's down about a half an inch. But there was no room for it. But otherwise, they're all there. I have a few capped ones, but at least they're all in one piece and functional. But the dentist told me, he says, you don't want to pay for a plan. Just keep taking care of them. So I've been lucky so far, knock on wood. Anyway, Steve, I want to go upstairs and do some thermal